Hey guys, welcome back again to the podcast, the Cut and Light Smoke podcast, presented by the Huddle Up Store Studios. Oh, that's where we're coming from. Sorry, in live Phoenix, Arizona. I didn't want to do the same opening I do every single time because I feel like it's so canned. I want to do something different, and I screwed it up. So thanks for still listening to us, even though you're listening from your car, your house, your phone, wherever you are listening from. Thank you very much for listening to us. And if you're watching this on Cut Light and Smoke Podcast on YouTube, thank you very much. Do me a favor, like and subscribe down below. It really does help us with the podcast, and we really do appreciate that because we're talking about a subject today that is very, very mysterious. And we have a cigar that is very, very, very big. It's a 7x70. It's our first house brand that we've ever released that's a 7x70. I think it's a second one. Yeah, it's second one. We released at 7x70.
The Yeti tracker.
That's right. I forgot.
The Bigfoot.
The Bigfoot from the Yeti. Yeah. But this is called, and of course we're going to be talking about it, the Nephilim. So if you look at your computer screen, I can show you just how big this thing is. I have the Nephilim Connecticut, and JB has the Habano right there. These are ginormous cigars, and we have a ginormous appetite for discussion today. And we're going to be smoking and talking about why we thought about this and why we brought the cigar in, and also, the history of the ever curiously, mysteriously named Nephilim. JB, say what's up to people.
What's going on?
How you doing, JB? You okay?
I'm doing good, man.
This cigar is ginormous. It's one of the biggest cigars I think I've ever smoked. I don't know if you've ever smoked something this big. Have you? Yeah? Okay, I don't remember.
Yeah, we've smoked the Bigfoots, which are 7x72, so they're actually a little bit bigger than these.
A little bit bigger than these, a little longer, I think.
We also have smoked some of the Asylum 8x80s.
That's true. The only thing that's going to cut this, actually, is your big Zyphy 60-plus ring gauge cutter. So shout out to Zyphy on the...
Yeah, it actually cut it pretty good.
Did it really?
Not too much, yeah.
Let's see what we got here. Dude. Wow, it worked perfectly. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That worked out perfectly. Go Zyphy. Make sure you go to that's the freaking torch, bro.
Mind your business.
I know. I'm gonna use this one.
I got shit to do.
How long will it take to light this freaking cigar, dude? This cigar is gonna take forever.
Oh no, I thought about telling you to put like some Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey circus music in the background, and while I try to light it with matches.
Jeez. That was funny on the video, dude. Oh my gosh, how many matches does it take to light the Nephilim? I don't know. Gosh, this thing is huge. I'm still going. It's at least half of the fuel out of this lighter. Oh my gosh.
That's a pretty big lighter too, though.
Wow.
Ooh. So you have the Connecticut and I have the Habano. Habano.
Bro.
It's not bad off rip.
This is good.
Yeah, it's not bad off rip.
This is really good. Oh my gosh. This is sweet cream. Sweet cream good. Sweet cream good. So what have you heard about the Nephilim, JB? Tell me about the Nephilim that you know about, and then we'll get into the story of all stories.
I mean, there's a lot, bro. It's a pretty big umbrella, I would say, at least from all the theory holes that I've seen and been down, and there's probably more that I don't know anything about.
It's had a resurgence recently, like in the last 4 or 5 years. People have been talking about the Nephilim, talking about giants a lot and stuff. So,
well, it's because there's a lot more UFO activity going on.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot more talk about like, okay, what could it be if it's not aliens, right? Because that's still it's an easy concept to believe, but it's also a really hard concept to believe, depending on how you want to look at it.
The Nephilim are aliens?
Aliens. Okay. I mean, either one, really, because they're kind of one and the same, except for one's actually been talked about biblically and the other one hasn't really.
Yeah, there's a very famous Christian author that says that the Nephilim, the offspring of the sons of God, married daughters of men, that they are aliens. Very, very famous Christian author. I think his name is Hal Lindsey. He believes that. Yeah. You guys, if you're out there and you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So I don't know. I know that I'm smoking this cigar rather fast, and so it's burning up on one side a little bit for me, but the flavor is really good. How's the flavor on yours?
It's good, man. It's a really good, if you're somebody that like Connecticut's are too light, and you want to smoke something that's got a little bit more body to it, a little bit of spice, this is a really good stick with coffee. It's got its own kind of earthy coffee flavors and its own kind of like cedary sweetness, little bit of nuttiness. It goes really good with a nice cup of coffee, for sure.
Yeah, this Connect goes very well with it.
It's a lot for a Habano. It's a lot smoother and more pleasant than I was expecting it to be. I had low expectations. They are exceeded. Okay,
so the Nephilim come from Genesis chapter 6, verse 4, where it essentially says this, and I'll put this in there so you guys can see it. It says the sons of God marry the daughters of men, and then it talks about the Nephilim as their pretty much as their offspring, if you would. In the Nephilim, it says they were great giants or great men, and when it say great, they mean like size. And so you guys remember David and Goliath, right? Remember David and Goliath?
Well, I think that's the easiest connotate or easiest relation to historical giants.
Right.
Existing at some point, yeah.
Right, that he was a giant essentially.
Even though Ohio's full of giant bones.
Yeah, they raise big people out there.
That's not what I meant, but yeah, they are corn-fed.
They are. Hold on a second. You saying there's giant bones in Ohio?
You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, no. If you look on a map for like the highest area concentrated of like bones found over 7 feet tall, it'll blow your mind. Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, the Great Lakes area, they're full of like 10
Everything
times
comes
everywhere.
Back to Ohio.
Dude,
Everything
10 times everywhere else in the world.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Yeah,
bro.
So these there's this idea that giants are around today. I mean, there was just recently a TikToker that made a video about a giant that he saw like on the snow-capped mountain a long time ago. Remember seeing about that and the guy disappeared?
I feel like somebody debunked that, but I do remember the story.
Right. And there's all these different things about Bigfoot and everything like that. Are they the offspring of the Nephilim? So there's things like the abominable snowman, there's like Bigfoot, there's Yetis, all that kind of stuff. And there's lots of legends out there that could align with this Nephilim idea.
The red-haired giants that the military came across in, I think, like Afghanistan or something like that.
Oh, do tell, sweet JB.
You haven't heard that one?
No, tell the story.
There's apparently like some regiment that got like, they were stuck in the mountains of either, I want to say it was Afghanistan, but it also could have been like Iraq or Iran. And they got kind of lost and they came up on this big cave and they said this dude that was like 10 feet tall came out and allegedly they killed the dude. And there's pictures of the guys holding his head. I don't know. I haven't researched it. Who knows? But allegedly they came across this guy in a cave that was just freaking giant.
What? The U.S. military has an exercise that we don't know about?
Oh yeah. Possibly. What? All right. But yeah, no. The Nephilim are interesting, right? Because there's a lot of other theories that have come from that, right? Like, for example, there was I was reading something and somebody was like, yeah, what if Greek mythology came from the idea of the Nephilim being people that hypothetically had abilities that other people didn't have, and that sparked the idea of there being these godlike figures that sparked kind of the idea of Greek mythology. So that was kind of a weird theory too on the Nephilim.
I think the Nephilim, here's my opinion. I think the Nephilim did exist or still do exist in some way, shape, and form. I think they did. I obviously believe the Bible, so I believe that they did. What that form is and how that works out today, I don't know if it's any valid or if it's true or whatever, you know?
I got two thoughts.
Give it to me.
So, the devil is technically still a son of man.
That's one of the terms for him. It's also Jesus' favorite term for himself is son of man. But yeah, he says son of man. No, the devil is not born by natural descent.
Right.
No, he's a spirit being, yeah.
But like, or not the son of man, but he could still be a son of God is what I meant.
Yeah, the term sons of God refers often to angelic beings and or godly people.
So what if they weren't angelic at all? What if they were demonic beings that Satan or the demons had?
Right.
Then,
right.
Given,
that's the thing is that.
So that's another way.
Still, I mean, the scripture talks about Satan masquerading like an angel of light.
Yeah.
And that he can present himself as that. If you
He's
ever
the deceiver, man.
Yeah. If you ever saw Satan, you're not going to think don't think like horns and like a boiling pot of oil.
No, he's going to look like everything you want.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so what show?
It's going to be like that mirage that you see in the desert. It's going to be everything you want.
What show did I just see where the guy was saying,
was it that nefarious one?
You got to see that movie, guys. It's
Was it from that?
Yeah, because the demon that possesses the guy who's the inmate is talking to the psychologist, and he says, if you just let me in, I'll give you everything you want. It was mine to give to Jesus, and I could have done that with him, but he turned me down. I'll give it to you anytime you want, and it's mine to give. My master can give you anything, and so it's creepy. But the Nephilim most likely were
just big people,
bad evil giants. Yeah,
not any kind of like extra abilities as far as like throwing lightning or thunder or anything like that.
We don't know. That the fact of the matter is we don't know. So probably not. Probably just these ginormous beings, that lived here. So I mean they fall into the category of nomenclature of biblical narrative that is like not angels and demons, but these other spirit beings or these other like half people, not really half people, but if angels could have sex with humans, which they can't. Okay, and Jesus actually talks about that because angels don't have gender. So there we go, gender neutral. They got it. The angels got it. So if they can't have sex with human beings, then how were these women impregnated?
Yeah.
So that's sort of the thing. Can demons do that? Versus like angels. So because it talks about when Jesus answering the question, when a man dies, what's he going to be like in heaven? He says they'll be like they'll be like the angels in heaven, not given in marriage and not taken in marriage. So marriage doesn't exist in heaven because it exists here on earth for a different reason.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you won't see your wife or your husband or something like that, in heaven, but there won't be a marriage covenant like there is here on earth. Which for some people will be very happy about that. Some people, I'm always kind of sad about that.
So here's another thing too, right? Like I would need outside of the Bible, I would have to research, like go back into researching and see where like the Nephilim are first.
Genesis 6:4 is the first.
No,
mention.
Outside of the Bible. Like where do people first mention giants outside of the Bible, time frame wise? And the reason I say that is because what if like how big was Moses?
Well, Moses was a Jew, and people in the Middle Eastern descent that we have bones from then, we're looking at 5'6" to like 5'10".
So there was okay.
Yeah,
I'm reaching a little bit.
That's why when David and Goliath happened, Goliath was obviously
a big deal,
above 6 foot.
Okay,
because like to be above
that's
6
fair.
foot, even Solomon was known as a tall man.
Yeah, that's right.
So like that was impressive. So if you were anywhere above 6 foot, probably during that time, you were known as impressive or possibly even a giant. I don't know.
How big was Samson?
I don't know. I know that Samson
because it had more to do with his hair than anything.
Yeah. He was strong.
But I mean, the dude pulled down the pillars though, like,
and killed 1,000 Philistines, dude. He killed 1,000 men. I mean, he did more than that. I mean, with the jawbone of a donkey.
Yeah.
I mean, like he did more stuff So he did. Yeah, Samson's weakness was women. So if you're out there and women is your weakness, Samson can relate.
The reason I'm saying that is like, is there anything after the flood that mentions them outside of just finding bones and these spooky stories of big guys in caves that people say they see?
Not a lot. There's and that's kind of Hebrew literature. The Old Testament literature it's more snapshot of things that they thought that you would know about or that was very common knowledge. They didn't feel the need to explain everything. So except for like creation, like the story of creation is like. Genesis chapter 1 is a snapshot. Genesis chapter 2 is like a movie. It's like explaining a few more things that God did, and then Genesis 3 is obviously the fall. So, that's Hebrew knowledge. So for people reading this, they must have known about the Nephilim. Okay. Now we do have extra biblical,
like the Book
accounts.
of Enoch.
Yeah, the Book of Enoch,
which I haven't really looked at because we don't know.
It's hard to categorize that book because it's not scripture, but it's not really anti-history at all. It's got some really good accurate stuff in there. So but it's not like
because they don't know who wrote it.
Yeah, the assumption is that Enoch wrote it, but it was found with some other biblical text, from what I understand.
Okay,
so that's why people are like the Book of Enoch. The problem with the Book of Enoch is there are some things that don't line up theologically with Scripture that I don't know if it would be accurate enough. So, but it was common knowledge during the time that the Bible was being put together that people would write other books in honor of the biblical authors.
Yeah,
like 3rd Peter or 4th Peter, if you would. They would do that, and they were part of something called the pseudepigrapha, which actually means pseudo means false, grapha means writing, essentially. So false writing.
Like fiction, nonfiction.
Yeah, it's basically Christian nonfiction, if you would. So there's a lot of stuff in the pseudepigrapha. And there's actually
that's the story about Jesus, like doing something with a paper, making it a dove or something in the church.
Clay.
That's what it was.
There were a bunch of kids, and Jesus, when he was a kid, were making clay down. He claps his hands, they all turn to doves and fly away.
Yeah.
That's in the pseudepigrapha. So nobody believes that's true, but so the Book of Enoch, there's like canonical, which is like the Bible, the canon, and then there's like spooky books outside that. Some are obviously fictional, and some have some history to them. So give you a very, very good example of like historical books, but not biblical books, would be what the Catholics have in their Bible, which is the time between the Testaments. They've got added books.
Oh, the 500 years?
Yeah, they have. I forget what they call that. It's not the Apocrypha. Is it the? It's not the Apocrypha. Yeah, it is the Apocrypha. Is it the Apocrypha? I can't remember. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I don't know.
But that's what Catholics have. They have extra books in there, and that was added in there by the Pope during the Protestant Reformation, because Martin Luther, broke off the Catholic Church, started Protestantism and everything like that, and they put that in there to differentiate themselves from the Protestants. So,
yeah.
But they are historically accurate, but not theologically accurate. So.
And the other thing too is like when you start looking at like the Easter Island statues, those could have been Nephilim or bigger people, giants that they're
spooky, dude. We don't know,
right? That they're depicting as their leaders over the time, right?
Right, big freaking heads that nobody can tell how it got there.
Well, and you think about like, people talk about like, was there lost knowledge? Like you talk about the pyramids and how some of these civilizations could have had energy engineering above what we're aware of. And
yeah, they're finding some of that kind of stuff.
You wonder if Nephilim are like some of the people that were smarter, not had that knowledge. I don't know.
Here's the problem. Whenever Joe Rogan goes down this rabbit hole, I'm always kind of like, when Joe Rogan does his podcast, he talks a lot about like things that are mysterious and Nephilim, and he talks about the pyramids a lot. And he talks about the ancient history and everything else like that, and what's going to happen, or what could have happened, and the engineering that goes into making the pyramids. And a lot of stuff he says is right, and it is mysterious. But some of the things that they talk about, like they found this timepiece, or they found this really weird, engineering thing. It's not. I mean, remember. I mean, even in the Bible, it says there's nothing new under the sun. It's like when we are inventing like quantum mechanics and things like that, and we're getting into things like that, it's not unusual to think that somebody else couldn't have had that idea a while back. I mean, look at Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
So
Plato, Socrates.
Right. But here's my point with all that. Here's my point. Sure that there were people that had those thoughts back then, but it wasn't nearly as published, and it wasn't nearly as wide known, and there wasn't as many of them as there is today.
Yeah.
Probably because of the mass communication that we have, the internet and everything else like that. So now we can see things more. Like everything that's documented about human history, when we're dead, if the next 1,000 years and Christ doesn't come, people come back and look at us, they'll see our videos, they'll see who we are and things like that. They're going to know, hey, this is that. Next 100 years, I mean, shoot, both of us could be dead in 50 years. You never know. So, I mean, I probably will be dead in the next 50 years. So the reality is someone will look back and they'll see that and they'll go, okay, this is who they were. This is what they claim. This is what they're about and everything else like that. So that's important to recognize. So, but when Joe Rogan's talking about that kind of stuff, he's more intriguing about it. Like, hey, what about this? Have you seen this, man? It's just crazy. It's weird, and that's just crazy, and it is weird, but it doesn't mean it's correct and that it's perfect or anything like that. So.
Yeah, Nephilim are they're probably one of the more like hardest one to dig around on, because like even if you get into like the Anunnaki, who are people who are supposed to have gotten off the planet that had a lot of knowledge, who would have been like from Atlantis or something, right? They got off the planet and then they want to come back. There's like thoughts of like what was the other group of people that was similar to the Nephilim and like the Anunnaki? Oh, they talk about like the lizard people. What do they call the lizard? Maybe that's the Anunnaki, is the lizard people.
I don't know. I have no clue.
But yeah, there's there's just all kinds of like weird stories that kind of overlap, and the Nephilim are kind of like, they're like right in the middle. Like there's some stuff about them having like spooky powers, and there's stuff about them just being like just big people.
Yeah. I don't doubt it whatsoever. But how is the cigar treat you? That's my question.
It's really good, man.
Yeah, mine is.
It's very good.
Incredibly good. If you like vanilla cream, you want to try this. This is vanilla cream the whole time. Vanilla cream, sweet on the retrohale. It's a lot of cigar, and it's going to take you a while to smoke. But, I mean, we've been at this for like a half hour so far, you know, and I'm only halfway through it, not even halfway through it. So,
I mean, you're outside cooking Christmas dinner the night before, or you're sitting out at a fire Christmas Eve or Christmas night, and you just want to sit outside for a while and smoke. Like, this is the one, man.
I'll say two things about this. It burns well, and it falls apart fast. So, like, the ash falls quickly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, I guess not yours. Yeah, it's not too bad.
It sounds like a you problem.
Okay. Who knows? But what do you guys think about the Nephilim? Drop a comment below on what you guys think about the Nephilim. And obviously, you can drop... What was I going to say? I totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yes. Obviously, you can email us any questions or comments you had about the topic we're talking about today at cutlightsmokepodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's one word, cutlightsmokepodcast@gmail.com. And so for the Cut Light and Smoke Podcast, I've been Bradley. He's been JB. And we are on the hunt for the Nephilim. Peace.
I ain't going hiking Sunday now. Put that out there.